Okay, I wanted to give you guys an update on the TD8. I'm sorry I've been slow in getting videos out. Had a lot going on lately. So far I've got 50 hours down. The engine is running well. I did have an issue with it right off the first job I was on with it. I thought I could get away with some used rocker arms that were a little bit loose, and it proved me wrong. So I ended up having to buy another set of rocker arms, and what happened was it started spraying oil up on top of the valve cover, and whenever I'd get up to the end of a push, I mean, it'd just slobber oil out the blow-by tube. But right now I'm just kind of checking RPM. I don't know why they don't put tachometers on these old dozers. I need to find one for it. It'd be nice. It'd be kind of neat to kind of understand where it's at. But I've got a tachometer here. I've been doing a little bit of tinkering with it. But what sounds like 2500 to me, according to this tachometer, is about 23. So this engine's rated at 2500 full load power, and with a torque converter transmission you can check that by getting everything warmed up, and you can stall it and you can set the RPM, and right now at high idle I'm comfortable with 23. I think it was 23, or no, it was 2200. This thing pushes really well. I'm not gonna jack it up any higher than that. Does it need to run 2500? I don't really think it does. But I will tell you this, I could set it up to where it would run 2500 no load, and there was at one point I did, and it blew the intake manifold, or the crossover tube from the turbo to the intake off, and I mean scared the crap out of me. So she's got plenty of boost. I need to put a pressure gauge on it and check it, but running good. Transmission wise, everything works good in transmission. The only thing is the hesitation between first and second is still there. I think it's a little less, but it's still there. So I didn't get that fixed. I didn't fix that problem. I did get the bearings replaced in it and all the, good seals and everything in it, so everything should be in good shape. But I just wanted to kind of check in with you. I know people been wondering about it, and I've been kind of throwing out a video that might be about dozers and stuff, and then there might be a video about backhoes and not mechanicing. I'm very disorganized, and sometimes when I start a project, on a editing project, I might get halfway through it and decide I don't want to do it right now. I want to do something else. So that's kind of where I'm at. But the dozer's running good. I did replace the seals on these 3 cylinders. I've got most of the leaks stopped. I think I still got a hose or something, maybe a fitting there that's leaking a little bit, but cleaned up most of the oil leaks on it. You can park it on a trailer now and you don't have an oil slick in the morning. This rod was actually bent, and because, well, I probably explained it in the other video, but I've got that blade tightened up, so I've got a lot better control there. Roxy's a little jealous. She wants me to play with her, not dozers. But anyway, I got it tightened up to where it doesn't flop around. It makes it a whole lot funner to run. Like I say, just 50 hours. Hasn't, other than blowing the oil out of the breather tube, it really hasn't burned any that I can measure. I've kind of got it sitting on a heel here, but you can see it whenever it was leaking or blowing that extra oil out through the loose rocker arms. That was a problem. So And I knew that could have been an issue when I rebuilt it, but my thinking was, you know, I can probably get away with it because it's on the top end. It's easy to change the rocker housing, which it was. And I was able to find one. Found a good used one. Didn't even have to rebuild it. It was in really good shape. I measured everything. It was all within specs. So now I got everything done right. It's what happens when you try to cut a corner. Some guys can get away with it. I don't know how. I never can. Whenever I try to cut corners, it bites me in the butt. And it's frustrating, you know. I know some guys out there, they can just, this will work, get away with it forever. But I'm not so lucky, I guess. Or maybe I don't know, just the way it goes. But I do need to get a new rod made for this cylinder. It's scratched really bad. I've put new seals in it, can't get it stopped. Same way on the other side. Those are projects that are coming someday. But the 50 hours, I mean, it's starting to earn its money back. Little at a time. I've done some work here on the farm with it, so it wasn't all paying money, or paying hours, I guess. But it needs to be done. It got work needs to be done. You got a tool to do it, you might as well do it. But anyway, pretty happy with it so far. You know, just little by little, you start in on this stuff. And when I first started the tear down and rebuild of this, believe me, I was to the point I was like, I should have never started this. This is too much. This is an old dozer. It's not worth it. But nah, this size dozer is perfect for what I need. Sure, it'd be nice to have one with a cabin, air conditioner, and all that stuff, but it also costs a lot of money. This one will not cost me a dime when it's sitting out here parked. I don't owe any money on it, and a paid-off dozer is the best dozer. I don't know if you've heard that before, but if you got one you owe a bunch of money on and you have an engine or transmission go down, you got big problems. So anyway, I will need to do an undercarriage at some point, but I'm going to try to run this one until it ain't nothing left of it. So anyway, that's the status of the TD8. My mom passed away about 2 weeks ago, and that's not been easy to deal with. She was in pretty poor health. She was, you know, things were slowly getting worse, but she caught pneumonia, and just kind of went downhill from there. But anyway, rest assured she's in a better place. We got a really good conversation with her that I did today, and my brother and sister did too. My dad, the day before she died, we had a good conversation. She was at peace with going, and I don't know that you could ask for more than that. She will be missed for sure. But anyway, one of the best moms around. Okay, just kind of recapping why the blade is off. Pulled the blade because found this spot on the cylinder. I noticed this one before, but I didn't really understand why they did this. But this, the pivot pin has been hitting this cylinder, and it has caused it to bend the rod. I got the rod straightened with my press within, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's probably within a decent working tolerance there. So when I pulled it apart, found this bushing's really loose. I've got a new one I can put in it, but it's fairly loose in there. I don't know that I can use bearing mount, might fix it, or sleeve lock might take care of that. I don't know. The bottom bushing looks pretty good. This washer has been welded in place, and half of it's broken and gone. This top bushing had been welded in place after it looked like they used a torch to cut this hole out bigger. The next bushing is, it's a mystery, but it looks like they took a bushing, cut it in half, and welded the bushing to this part. They welded this piece in. This is not factory. When these came out, they had 2 pins in them. Later models, I think, had a solid pin. And then down here at the bottom, we're missing half of the ear off of it. And I'm sure the bottom bushing is the same way. So what I'm going to start out by doing, I've got some 2-inch cold rolled, and this is probably not the best stuff to use, but it's going to be better than nothing. But what I'm going to shoot for is a cold rolled bushing that I can put in here and I'm going to have to trim this out, get it to fit tight. I may make one to fit here as well. I'm hoping I can get these bushings to fit the pin tighter than they fit. Because really, the only bushing that should be worked is this one and that one. The pin should be stationary to the way it was designed. It was stationary to the blade frame. So if I can get a new bushing, actually that one's in pretty good shape, and I can get those tightened up to where that pin can't move around a lot, I think we'll be in better shape than where we were at. Just, you know, that's kind of what I'm up to. So, kind of looking at this metal, this material, it's been hammered. You can see it's kind of, I don't know if this is I don't think that's a washer. I think it's just the metal has been beaten over the top of the, it's like flattened over. So I'm going to take a grinder and grind all this off a little bit, see if I can get that bushing out. But whenever you weld a hardened bushing, it really is not designed to be welded. So this is one of those things. This dozer is just, it just gives me something every day that's new and exciting and a pain in my butt to fix. Did I buy the wrong dozer? Probably. Very good possibility. Am I going to quit now? Probably not. Guess I'm too hard-headed. I don't know. But that's kind of where I'm at with the TD8. Runs good. Got some new cylinder seals in these cylinders. Fixed the tilt cylinder seal. Think we've got most of the leaks. You can see there's a drop under there, a little bit of oil under there, but with the belly pan, it's kind of hard to tell where that's coming from. Could be from leakage, spilling oil, that kind of stuff. It's a lot drier under here than it used to be, I'll tell you that. These things, when they get to this age, tend to have a lot of leaks. So this, like I say, this is a little more than I bargained for. I was hoping just to fix some cylinders and go back to work. But when I found the cylinder bent, I'm like, I've got to stop and address this. So that's where we're at today. Okay, so I kind of cleaned this up a little bit, but this is actually a piece of the bushing that I pulled out of here. This is a joke. It's a terrible joke. The welds, if you'd call them that, I'm not sure this isn't just a piece of 1.5-inch pipe or something. 2-inch pipe, I don't know. So this is what I got to deal with. There's grease packed down in here in the voids. The weld is kind of hammered over the edge of it. So if there is a clean bore in here to work off of, I can make a bushing to fit it. I'm a little frustrated at this. And it's, you know, none of this is really anybody's fault but mine. I bought the dozer, it's mine, okay? But when people do equipment repairs like this, I don't know. I guess I ain't got no place to complain. It could be worse, right? Anyway, so just another update on the little dozer. Piece of junk. Anyway, I've got a bushing made. I don't know how this is going to work. Bevel's pretty ugly. It's hard to cut a bevel, I found, on a round circle when you got other stuff in the way. But the reason I cut this metal piece out is I couldn't really get to this to fix it right, and it was pretty loose. I mean, this piece kept it in check, but you know, you got this had no, this top did nothing, this bottom did nothing, and there's a pretty good gap between there and there. So I'm gonna probably weld this bushing in place, and what I'm gonna try to do is get the pin, because the other piece was welded on crooked. I mean, the pin wasn't even straight up and down, it was at an angle. So I'm gonna try to get the pin straight up and down, both ways. I mean, line up off of this edge. I think this is probably true edge to true up the pin in this direction. I mean, forward to backwards. And yeah, I think that's gonna take care of it. Now, when I weld this bushing in place, question is, will I be able to get the pin back through it? I don't know. But I want to do this one first, and then I'll trim this out to fit that bushing, weld it in place, and then we'll figure out where the bottom one ends up being. And kind of, that's my plan. But yeah, this thing is just shot. I mean, just beat to death, wore out. But we got a new engine, new radiator, new transmission, rebuilt torque converter. So we got to keep going. We can't stop now. Well, okay, here's what we got. New bushings welded in place. Now when you do that, they warp, they distort, especially this bottom one. Because what I ended up doing, that's a 2 7/8 inch cold rolled bar, and I just left the OD the same and bored the inside out, and I think that thickness will be strong enough. That's about what it had to begin with. So I think it might work. I had to build up this pad. This gets a washer, and then the bottom side of this pad, it's not quite so pretty. It's hard to build up on the overhead weld, but I think it's going to work. Still got that bottom bushing is kind of weird looking. I don't know what they did here, if this is if they actually bored that out bigger, and then it kind of looks like they bored it out bigger and put a sleeve with the original style bushing in it. About halfway afraid to mess with it. That bushing is fairly tight. It could, yeah, I don't know. I got a new bushing to put in the top, and like I say, there'll be hopefully I'll get a washer here and a washer here. It's going to be pretty tight because when I measure top to bottom on those, it's going to be pretty snug, but I think it's going to work. Shocks like this, you know, this is probably about as good as it's going to get. So, but it'll be way better than it was.